Hello everyone. So today in this video we are going to discuss about the subjects of first year MBBS. So in first year MBBS we basically study three subjects: anatomy, physiology and biochemistry. Among these, physiology and biochemistry, these two subjects you are having a basic idea from the studies of your school time, like in 11th, 12th or even 9th, 10th, you have got some idea about physiology and biochemistry, at least a basic idea. But anatomy, this subject is completely new to you. Means basically first year students know very little about anatomy. So this video is particularly on how to study anatomy and how to attempt the anatomy. We study basically in these three topics. They are gross anatomy, embryology and histology. So we are going to discuss each of these separately, that how you should try to study these. So before starting that, I would like to tell you that these are my personal experiences. Some of you might not agree with this, or for some of you it might not work, but at least you can give it a try. At least you can give it a try so that you can come to know whether it will work for me or not. So first let us come for gross anatomy. So gross anatomy, we are basically going to study under 6 headings: the upper limb, the lower limb, the thorax, abdomen, head and neck, and neuroanat. Now, in these 6 topics, there are some of the points which are going to be common in all of these. Now, what are those points? So in upper limb, lower limb and to some extent in thorax and head and neck, one thing that you will encounter are bones. So bones are basically for viva. Bones are basically asked in viva. So you have to prepare bones in means according to the viva, how you are going to present it in front of the external. So in bones, I'll suggest you to prepare using original bones. Real bones, if you can arrange, it is very good. Or else there are some of the apps available that present 3-dimensional models of the bones. So those are going to be helpful. The name of the apps are given in the description, so you can look for that. So the next thing that you are going to encounter in almost all the topics are arteries, veins, nerves. Now, arteries, veins, nerves, for them you have to study in a similar kind of pattern. For all of these, the first thing which is going to be is the origin. From where the artery, vein or the nerve originates, what is its origin. The next thing which you are going to encounter is its course and relation. Now, course and relation in the books, when you will see, there is a list given that what things are on the right side, left side or behind that. So you need not remember those points. The best thing you can do for course and relations is the diagrams which are available in your books. The diagrams are going to be helpful for you to remember the course and relations of the arteries, veins and nerves. So with the help of them, you can remember the course and relations easily. Then the last thing in case of arteries and veins is going to be their termination, how they end. So that you can remember. And in case of nerves, one additional point is the muscles supplied. So you have to remember the name of the muscles that are supplied by the nerve. Now, how to remember these? If you can remember directly, it is very good. Otherwise, you can refer to the mnemonics. Now, many people complain that they cannot remember the mnemonic only, then how they are going to remember the muscles with the help of the mnemonic. So it is completely up to you. If you want to learn by mnemonics, you can do. If you want, you can devise your own mnemonics also, because your own mnemonics are going to be very helpful. They are your own, so you'll remember them better. Or else on the internet, you can find mnemonics for most of the muscles supplied by the nerve, so it is going to be easy. You can remember in this fashion. So now we have discussed about bones, arteries, veins, nerves. Next thing which is there are the lymphatics. So lymphatics are not much of an important topic, but still you should remember the names of at least a few lymphatic which are present around the organ, or the prominent lymph nodes which are present there, because they can be asked in the viva. And also in the spread of cancers, lymphatics play an important role. So lymphatics are important from that point of view. Next important topic that you are going to encounter are the muscles. So muscles, how you are going to remember? So basically in 4 points. They are given in the books in tabular form in many of the books. So you can remember it in terms of the origin, the insertion, the nerve supply, and the function. So nerve supply and function, these are very important. They are asked frequently in viva. Okay, these are also important, but nerve supply and function are very important from viva point of view. Now in case of thorax and abdomen, the next important thing that you will encounter are the organs or the viscera. So organs, how you are going to study about the organs? First and foremost is the diagrams. These are given in your books. Refer to the diagrams. Try to remember the features of the organs with the help of the diagrams, because you will be able to reproduce it in the examination. Because if you try to remember it point wise, then it will be quite difficult for you. And next is the video lectures. For organs, you can find many video lectures are available. So when you listen to the things with the help of real organs, when they present it with the help of real organs, then a better concept will develop. So the videos for the viscera and organ are available. The link is given below in the description, so you can refer to them. Then some of the extra things are given, like in case of upper limb or lower limb, you can get aponeurosis are present in the palm. Then you can get the retinaculum, like the extensor retinaculum, flexor retinaculum. So some extra points are there, but basically all the points are covered in these. And among them, bones is basically for viva, not for theoretical examinations. So you need not remember the diagrams. You have to learn how to describe the bone, a real bone, in front of the examiner. That is the most important point in case of bones. And the arteries, veins, nerves, then the lymphatics, muscles, organ and viscera. These are important for both theoretical as well as viva. So you have to study these accordingly. Upper limb, lower limb has been covered completely in these topics. The additional point in thorax and abdomen are the organ and viscera. In case of head and neck, the many arteries, veins and nerves you are going to encounter. So you have to put special emphasis on them in case of head and neck. And neuroanat is also quite important for the your viva. In theory also you will get one question, minimum one question you will get, but it is more important for viva. So you have to study this with the help of diagrams which are given in your book and with the help of video lectures. The link for these is available in the description. I have discussed about gross anatomy. Now next thing which comes is the embryology. So embryology, first one which you will encounter is general embryology. So from general embryology, you can expect one question to come in your theory paper, the final professionals paper which you are going to give. In that you will encounter one question from general embryology. It might be 5 marks or more, but basically around 5 marks question you are going to get from general embryology. Now the topics which are discussed in general embryology, most of them you have covered in your school. Okay, so if you have a brief idea also about general embryology, then you can attempt these questions. So I'll suggest that in the beginning of the session only you try to cover general embryology as it is taught in your class. Means side by side you try to study this. Now the next comes the embryology of specific systems. Now in this, it is basically important in thorax, abdomen and neuroanat. Now in thorax you are going to get the heart. development of the heart is a very important topic both for theory as well as viva. So development of heart you cannot skip. You have to study the development of heart in quite detail. Heart along with aorta and briefly about the arteries also. Okay, so these you have to study. You cannot skip these three things. Lungs are also important but not as important as heart. So heart you have to cover very thoroughly. Coming to the embryology of abdomen. So in abdomen, all the viscera. Now these viscera include the liver, kidney, stomach and intestine, all these etc. Whichever you find you are going to study the viscera, try to cover the development also, because the development, the embryology forms the base for studying that viscera. So if you know about the embryology, you are going to know about many things. So try to study the embryology of all the viscera which you are going to encounter. In case of neuroanat, you have to know about the general development process, about the different parts of the brain. Each part you should know from where it has developed, and a basic embryology of the spinal cord. Very basic level. You don't need to study about each and every part, the full developmental process. No, it is not important. Just a basic development of the entire central nervous system, that is important. And in case of head and neck, the important part is the pharyngeal arches. Because when you are going to study about the pharyngeal arches, you will come to know that each arch has a different nerve supply. So the organs which develop from each arch, they are going to have the nerve supply of that pharyngeal arch. So that will help you remember the nerve supply of many of the organs if you are going to study about the pharyngeal arches. And along with that, the eye, development of eye, it also might be asked in viva or theoretical examination. So basically these four topics, thorax, abdomen, neuroanat, head and neck, for these embryology is important. In case of upper limb and lower limb, there is no such a specific thing in the embryology section. So in these four topics, you have to cover the embryology section also thoroughly, because embryology forms the base. If you know embryology well, you can cover the topics easily. So the next topic is histology, the third and the final topic. So histology, when you will go to the histology lab, you will get the slides. So whenever you look at the slides, try to find some identifying features, because in examination you are going to get spotting for these slides. So you must know how I am going to recognize this slide. So for the slides you need to know the identifying features. Even the examiners also come and ask that what were the features by which you can say that this is the slide of this organ. So you need to know the identifying features, and along with that, when you will identify that yes, this is the slide of suppose liver, so then they can ask about the general anatomy of the liver. They might ask, means it is not a part of histology, but there the examiner can ask anything. So you should be prepared. General anatomy, then some of the diseases of the liver, how the diseases are going to affect the histology. Okay, so some of these things you should remember, because histology also has very large weightage in case of your practical examination. So you should not ignore histology. Now the question that comes in the mind of many students is that which books they should prefer. So books, there are many different authors who have written very good books in case of anatomy, but here I am going to write the name of few books which are important for examination point of view. For examination you can study well from those books. So which are the books? For gross, we have studied discussed in 3 points. So gross, you can refer to BD Chaurasia. BD Chaurasia, 5 topics are very well given: upper limb, lower limb, thorax, abdomen and head and neck. So these 5 topics you can study from BD Chaurasia. In that, diagrams are also given, point wise topics have been explained, so you can very well refer to BD Chaurasia for that topic. Next, coming to IB Singh or Vishram Singh. These are the books for neuroanatomy. Now, BD Chaurasia also has a neuroanatomy book, but these books have better diagrams, because as I've already said, in neuroanat you basically need to study from diagrams as well as video lectures. So you need good diagrams. So I'll suggest IB Singh or Vishram Singh, whichever you prefer. Any of these books you can take for studying neuroanatomy. Now next we are coming to this was for gross. Now next was embryology. So embryology, either you can refer to IB Singh embryology, or you can refer to Langman. Both these books are good. You can study from IB Singh because it is a good book, and Langman, the diagrams, some of the diagrams are better than IB Singh. So you can refer to the PDF of Langman and you can have IB Singh. These two books are very good, and I'll suggest, my personal opinion is IB Singh. You should go for IB Singh, and some of the diagrams you can look in Langman in the PDF section. And last, coming to histology. So histology, the standard book which is followed in many of the colleges is DeFiore's Atlas for Histology. If you do not prefer DeFiore's, then you can go for IB Singh. IB Singh histology book is also available. You can go for IB Singh. In that, as I've already told, two things you should see. First is the identification, and second thing is that means in case of disease what changes might come. This is not very important because this we are going to deal in pathology, but still you should have some idea because the examiner might ask. So basically the identification features you should read properly from the books, and you should see the slides properly when they are shown in the classes. So these are the books which next thing which we are going to discuss is about how to take notes in the class. So anatomy is a subject in which you will have to refer to the book every time you study it. Okay, you cannot study anatomy completely from your notes. Why? Because you have to refer to the diagrams which are given in the books. So you have to open the book while studying. So in my suggestion, you don't need to make a separate copy or something like that for anatomy notes. What you can do, wait, let me show. See, in this, as you can see, the important points which the teacher has discussed in the class, they have been marked in the book, and whatever additional points the teachers have given, they have been written in the spaces which are provided. Okay, if you feel the space is quite less, you can take a page, something like this, and you can add the extra points in the page and you can keep it in the book itself. Why? Because whenever you are going to open the book, the pages are going to be there, so you can study the book as well as the extra points which are given in the pages or which you have written in the spaces which are provided in the book. So this is the way in which you can make notes in the class. Having discussed about making notes in the book itself, as you can see, these are additional pages. So in head and neck, some of the points extra which were told or the points which have been told by the teacher are written in this page. So you can try to make notes in the class like this. Okay, so these are going to be helpful. Now if you want to write in the examination with the help of colored pens, then you have to make a practice for that, and you can make the practice while making the diagrams in the class. Like see, you can use colored pens to mark the arteries or the nerves, and similarly you can very well differentiate between different muscles with the help of different colors. Okay, so if you want, you can use colored pens in the class also. That will help you to develop an habit of writing the examinations with the help of colored pens. As we have discussed about the big books which you should study, so the first book which I said was BD Chaurasia. So BD Chaurasia is for the first 5 topics except for neuroanatomy. Gross you have to study from this book. So as you can see, the descriptive diagrams are given, so you have to go for the diagrams in BDC. Okay, in BDC the diagrams are very good. These diagrams you can easily make in your examination. So for that it is also very important, because in examination, as I've already said, you have to make diagrams. So in these diagrams you have to go for this. The next In neuroanatomy, you have to go for either IB Singh or Vishram Singh. So here also you can see the diagrams. These are quite important for the pathways. Okay, so through diagrams only you can study neuroanatomy very well. And last we have IB Singh for embryology. So in embryology, as you can see, these are the pharyngeal arches. So the diagram is given, and along with that it is written development, what develops from which arch. The colored coded diagram is given. So for these things you can go for either IB Singh or Langman. So these are the books which you can prefer in the first year. We have discussed how to study, which books to prefer, and all those things. Now comes the last thing, which is presenting these things in the examination, because that is the test which you are going to give, how you have studied and what you have studied. So next we are going to study is how to write the examination. So while writing the examination paper, some of the points you have to keep in your mind. The first and foremost thing is that your copy should look presentable. The examination paper should look presentable. When the teacher opens it, it should look well. Now many of you will say that if I write good, then what is the need for making it presentable if my answers are correct? You are right. If you write the answers correctly, you will get marks. But still, for making an impression, you should try to make your copy presentable. Now how you can do that? You can use some colored pens. You can make some colored diagrams. Okay, and you can write point wise. So these things help you to make the answer sheet presentable. Okay, now next what you can do, next you can, in every question, diagrams are must, because this is anatomy. So you have to express your answers through the diagrams. So in each and every question you should make sure that you make diagrams, as many diagrams as you can. If there is a single diagram, try to break it up into parts and make the diagram again and again, so that you fill up your copy with as many diagrams as you can. And it happens many times that you have a shortage of time. So in that case, when you are going to attempt the question, first and foremost make diagrams in all the questions. No need to write anything. If you have a very short time, then first and foremost make diagrams in all the questions which are left. Leave a few pages after the diagrams, and if you get time at the end, you can write something, because if you make the diagram, definitely you are going to get some marks. Okay. And as I have already said, write the answer point wise. Why? Because see, like this is your answer sheet. Now, if you are writing it in sentences, you have to first complete this line, then complete this line. So a lot of time goes there, and that only if you write point wise, what happens? You give a point, write this much, give a point, write this much. So what happens? Your page is also getting filled and your time you are also saving. There is no need to write complete sentences in the answer. Just write the important point the teacher looks for, that only while correcting the papers. And the last thing that should be present in each and every answer of yours is the clinical point. Clinical or the applied, whatever you say. Applied aspect. This should be present in each and every answer, whether it is a 5 marks, 10 marks, 20 marks, doesn't matter. But clinical, this should be present definitely, because even if it is a 5 marks question, at least 1 to 1.5 marks is there for clinical only. So if you write that also, then you can gain some marks. So these are some of the basic points, the most basic points which you should remember while writing an examination paper. Now we are going to discuss a sample question. Suppose if you get a 10-mark question that describe the brachial plexus. So how you are going to attempt the question? So first and foremost, on the page you give the heading brachial plexus. Okay. Now first point which should be present in each and every question is introduction. Okay. In introduction, you have to write what is brachial plexus, where it is situated, what is its function. A brief introduction in about 3 to 4 points, not more than that. Okay, 3 to 4 points or if you want you can add some more points, but basically this should be present on the first page of your answer. Then suppose this is the left side of the page, then on the right side, the page on the right side in front of it, there you have to make a full page diagram of the brachial plexus. Full page diagram. Okay, full page diagram of the complete entire brachial plexus, colored diagram. Make sure it is a colored diagram. Full page colored diagram of the brachial plexus you have to make in front of it, or you can make on the next page, whichever is comfortable. Okay, so on one page you are writing the introduction and a few more points, and then on the next page you are making a full page diagram of the brachial plexus. Okay, so this was the first point. Then now, as you know, brachial plexus, it has been divided into roots, then trunks, then division. And whenever you are, if you can remember, then write the root values also of the nerves, because root values are not very important, but if the teacher will see that root values are also given, it will make a good impression. So you can write the root values in front of these, and for each you have to do the same thing. If you are writing trunk, break up the diagram for the trunks and make it here. Similarly for division, cords, branches. Finally, the last topic, as I have already told, branches. So in branches, one more thing which you have to remember is the muscle supplied. Okay, so when you are going to write about the branches, you also write the names of the muscles that are supplied by the each branch, and that also should be point wise. So if in this way you are going to write the answer, then for 10 marks you have already filled around 7 to 8 pages. That is more than enough you have completed. And the last point which should be present is the applied aspect. Applied aspect, in that first is going to be Mbbs paralysis, and second one will be clump case paralysis. Okay, so for these also diagrams are given in the book. If you can, make the diagrams also. Okay, so all these together will fill around 7 to 8 pages, not even 7, then 6 almost. It will be, obviously it is going to fill 6 pages. Okay, so for 10 marks, 6 pages, it is enough. If you write that much, you can expect to get good marks if you make good diagrams. Okay, try to make all the diagrams colored. Okay, colored diagrams. And you might think that making the diagrams with pencil and then coloring them will take a lot of time. So if you can, I'm not forcing you, if you can try to make the diagrams directly with the help of pens. As you can see, these diagrams have been made directly with the help of pens, this diagram. And the labeling also has been done with the help of pens. But I don't tell you that you make like this only, but you can try, because this is going to save your time. In the one go only, if you will make the diagram completely, it is going to save your time. Otherwise what will happen, you will make the outlining with pencil, then you will color with colored pencils. So if you prefer that, you can go with that, there is no issue. Okay, so this was basically how you have to write an answer. If it is a 20 marks question, try to fill around 10 pages. If it is a 5 marks question, try to fill about 3 to 4 pages, or 3 pages are sufficient. Okay, so accordingly you have to write the answer, taking in consideration the total marks and the content, because if you have less content, you have to elaborate it, okay, on your own, because the teacher will look for content according to the marks. So this was how to write the exam. Okay, so this was about the theory examination. Now coming to the practicals. So practicals, you are going to have basically the dissection, then the histology, slide identification, and finally the viva. In viva, you are going to have soft tissue. Soft tissue includes the organs and the muscles, nerves, arteries. Then you are going to have the bones, then surface marking, and the radiology. Okay, so dissection, when you are going to the dissection hall, try to do as much as dissection as you can, because in the final examination you are going to get one dissection to do. Okay, so you have to be sure that you practice dissection regularly. Next, histology, as I have already said, that you need to remember the identification points, because you are going to get slides. For spotting, you have to identify what are them, and finally you might get a master slide in which the external examiner will come and ask you questions related to the slide, so you have to answer those questions. Finally, coming to the viva. So in viva you are going to have soft tissue, as I already said. These include the organs, the viscera present in thorax abdomen, then the muscles, nerves, artery, veins, all these things are present in the soft tissue. Bones, as I have already said, it is mainly for viva only. In theoretical examinations you are not going to get asked about the bones. So bones, you have to try to remember all the bones, because in head and neck you are going to get many small bones. So all those bones are going to be present in the examination, and the examiner can ask about any bone. So you need to study about the bones. In the first chapter itself of BDC, in every unit, first chapter is devoted to bones. So you can refer to that. The diagrams are good, you can study from that, and along with that the videos for bones, they are available on the internet. You can refer to that also. Then next is surface marking and radiology. So surface marking and radiology, these are given in the last chapters of BDC. Okay, last chapter of each unit is devoted to surface marking and radiology. So these you have to practice. In surface marking you need to remember the mathematical dimensions, that at what length from which point the artery is present, and you need to remember the points. So this also you need to see for the examination. And in radiology you will see x-rays. Okay, x-rays of hand or chest, and you have to identify what organs are present. You basically have to identify what things are there, because you don't study pathology in first year, so you don't need to know about the pathology, but you need to identify what things are present there. So these are basically about the practicals. Now some of the preventive measures. In the viva, if you don't remember the answer, don't try to make up an answer there, okay, because the teacher is teaching for last many years, so he can catch you very easily. So if you don't remember, try to answer as much as you can, and still the teacher goes on asking that tell more, then finally you say that you don't know. The teacher will go to the next question. Okay, don't try to act over smart in front of the teacher, because the teachers don't like that. Okay, so that only one thing you remember. And basically whatever you study for the theory, those things are going to be asked in the viva. Okay, except for the bones, these are an addition. So if you study for the theory exams well, you can remember about the bones also. You will prepare about the viva also. And if you do dissection, even if you look at the cadaver when it is getting dissected, you can remember many of the things, the relations. Okay, so try to be present in the dissection hall when the dissection is going on. So this was basically about the practicals. So now, having discussed all these, once again we have seen how and what to study. In that we have seen in 3 points: gross, embryo and histo. In these 3 sections you have to study anatomy. Then books, in gross you have to go for BDC for the first 5 units, and last IB Singh or Vishram Singh for your neuroanatomy. Then embryology, IB Singh you can go, or you can go for Langman, whichever you prefer. Finally histo, you can go for Diffeur's Atlas or IB Singh. Next, notes. So as I have said, notes you can try to make in the book itself, try to underline in the books, and if any additional point is there, you can write there itself or on a page, and you can put it there. Finally, examination, theory examination, as I have explained what to write, how to write. And in practical also you are having in 3 subsections: the dissection, the histo, as well as the viva. So this was basically how you have to study anatomy in the first year. So if you want, you can try this, or else if you are prefer your own way, then you are good with that. Thank you.